degree, I felt like mine wasn't as bad as hers because I still got on with life and hers crippled her life. Mine crippled my life, but I still did my day-to-day stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it felt like mine wasn't as bad because, well, you know, you're still going to work, you're still going to uni, so you can't be that bad. I think that's probably attitude about mental health in general.
No, I don't think that it's very helpful, like, personally, because if you're comparing your life to somebody else, and you're like, I know they're worse off than me, so I should feel better about it because, you know, people are worse off than me. So, but then it makes me go into like a little rut, like myself, because I'm like, oh, well, there's nothing to be worried about. Like I was saying before, people like family members and stuff are saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. So get yourself bury yourself back down in this rut and then never talk about it.
But at the same time, my friend might have felt the same about me, that because I was getting on with life, that she should have got on with life.
Yeah.
So I suppose it works both ways.
Comparison, isn't it?
It's that thing that we're always like our worst critic.
Yeah.
You're always your worst critic thing.
How dependent are the outcomes on how much the client puts into the sessions?
Completely dependent.
Yeah. So the idea of control again. You think you're not in control, but actually you are the centre of it all.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't say so, you can't do anything really.
Do you think, if you agree, is there a difference in opinion that is quite drastic between those who have had counselling and those who haven't?
Yeah.
Why?
I think you're just more understanding. Like, I think, like, if you see someone going through a tough time, and then if you've experienced it, you're like, oh, I know how they feel. Like, I know they should. It's hard to explain. Does anybody get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think I follow you.
Do you know what I mean?
think maybe you might be an example of this, because
Just go ahead, because I can't explain it properly.
I was saying before how this whole thing was quite alien to you. Like, you would never bother doing any of these things. So arguably, would you be less understanding of it than someone who had? Possibly. Not in a negative way, not criticising you, but like possibly. You would probably.
No, I think you can still be sympathetic and understand. I think it depends on the person. I think if you're an open person, you might not have been.
Still listen to people who have issues.
I think just because
probably the first person people ask.
just because you won't have done counselling yourself, I think like it doesn't take it away from how much you care about a person like going through it. Like you might not have done counselling, but you cared about like your housemate and stuff like that.
True.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
you still try to do that.
Most people always come to me first. Out of all my mates, they come to me first, to be fair.
Do you think that's the same rule for stigma? People who've had experience of it look at it completely different to those who haven't.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the person again.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because when our flatmate was really poorly, you were heavily involved with him, weren't you?
Yeah. So was Nicole. I was on holiday when the actual thing happened.
So, yeah. And when it was all happening, you were like telling me what happened and stuff, and you were there those days. And even though I was probably more experienced in it than you did, you were more there than I was. So maybe that's not proof that it does work like that.
Yeah, people always come to me first, and I've never ever felt I've never needed to go to a therapy or anything. Lived a pretty comfortable life.
Maybe it's just personalities.
Yeah, like even counsellors, like they might not have any issues themselves or any mental health issues, but they've still got that sympathetic thing there, that thing to want to understand someone.
Compassionate.
Yeah.
But then like my auntie's a counsellor at a jail. Like, as a person, I have no idea how she can counsel anyone, but I think she's the most messed up person I've ever met in my life. She's crazy.
But I think like I've got
You need someone like that.
a cousin of mine who's also a good friend, and she makes the worst decisions for herself. It's shocking, but she gives amazing advice. And I always say to her, you know, it's mental how you're like the first person asking advice for, but you're going out with him, like, you know, what's that about? And she laughs and says, oh, I know, and she can kind of psychoanalyse herself to some extent and say, oh, I think I do it because of this, but she makes really bad decisions for herself. But yeah, I would trust it with my, you know, my advice. She's the best person for it.
Well, then that Danielle said about, she's loyal.
Yeah.
She's loyal for herself, loyal to her friends.
She don't care about herself.
But not herself.
Yeah, I think it's,
Sometimes you ever think about like a decision you've got to make, you think, what would I say to my friend if they came to me with this problem?
Yeah.
And you know exactly what you did to your friend,
Yeah.
but how often do you actually follow it?
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
It's a lot easier to preach rather than practice, isn't it?
Mhm.
Do you think that there's a time limit that the sessions work within, or is it endless?
Just, do you mean per session or like per time, like
Um,
months, weeks? Or...
As in the counselling process to become effective and to be a positive experience. Is there a time limit that works in? What do you think about that?
No.
I don't,
Completely
yeah, I
dependable
don't,
on the person, isn't
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Definitely a
think
process. Because you might go to like 5-6 sessions and not say much really.
Well, I mean, Childline is like, the average call is say 20 minutes, and that's 20 minutes with a kid that can be having all sorts of traumatic experiences, but it's working. And that's
Mhm.
20 minutes, and I don't know if those children call back every time or whatever, but it seems to be, if you are open, ready, willing, right there, right then, and there's someone that will sit down and talk to you, there doesn't seem to be a time limit on it. It works.
I think it depends on how much you've got to share as well.
Yeah.
Because
How willing you
with
are.
Daniela she okay, it matters, but she I feel like, because I've watched a few of the in therapy sessions, I don't know, because obviously it's all edited and stuff and it's all cut down and stuff, but I feel like hers took longer than say Colleen Nolan or Callum Best, or I obviously I don't know the full extent of how long she was there, but I do feel like it was more, she was there for longer and it took her longer because she had a lot more to share because she'd been
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
How soon do you think that the client would notice a difference, and if the treatment was working for them?
I think that depends on the person.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a time frame in mind?
I think if you go in with that, it's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah, I think that will kind
People
of
might go in-
counterproductive, isn't it?
People might go in thinking that I want to be feeling better in the next 5 weeks,
Yeah.
but it might take like 5 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
like might uncover things that you didn't even remember or you didn't want to
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah,
Or you didn't even realise
Yeah.
affected you.
Yeah.
You might feel a lot worse before you feel any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is possibly a reason why she got all narky and why she was late and why she picked a fight. Because she could have come in and said, I'm really sorry I'm late, traffic was bad, and just the truth, I woke up late, I couldn't really be asked. Told the truth, but instead she made an argument out of it. Rather than take...
accountable.
Yeah, she didn't want to be.
Mm.
But rather than take a bollocking and be like, yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, I should have been late, she started an argument, which to me meant she wanted an argument, she wanted to storm out, and she wanted to get away from the
Yeah,
situation.
she came in there feeling a bit defensive.
Yeah. And that could be because she felt worse, just feeling worse before she felt better.
Yeah, she
I
always
think-
said she didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I think she might have done something in that time between the first appointment and the second one. Because I think she might have come out for the first one feeling like, yeah, maybe this will work for me.
Yeah.
And I think she's done something, like she's took coke or she's done something, because the way she came back, the way she didn't want to come back, I feel like she might not be the case, but it seemed like that would be how someone would act, that had done something and she regretted it and she felt guilty for it, and maybe she even thought that she could read it, and maybe she was panicking about going back. I think she could have
got
back.
Off someone.
I think she could have just felt that she regretted being so vulnerable.
Maybe.
A bit embarrassed about it in
Yeah.
hindsight, because she's gone out of that nice safe environment, back to a normal life, gone back to her being that front of a person, and then is expected to, for 1 hour a week, go back to this really vulnerable state,
It would be knackering. She said she was tired, didn't she?
Yeah, and I bet she felt a bit embarrassed,
Yeah.
a bit remorseful,
I mean, she talked about how you said, didn't she, like, you changed my life. I'm not sure how honest you can...
I thought that was a bit false, to be honest.
I thought it was a bit false.
I thought that she had to say that because it was coming to an end, and probably they've got a limit of how long.
Like an artistic, lovely ending.
Yeah.
Can't entertain.
But really, she's still messed up. Do you know what I mean?
I
That's a horrible term to say,
no.
but like there's still a lot of a thing that
Work
she needs
to
to
do.
work with
Yeah,
with the counsellor. But with a TV show, they only give Sert a limit. So she's
Yeah.
like,
But
oh,
then they say that like,
no, we need to say we're good.
like
Do you know what I mean?
deep things that affect you in your life, you never know when you get over them. You just learn to live with them as a part of you.
Yes.
So maybe there's no, that's not a correct representation of counselling. You're not going to come away. You're not, well, no, well, you're not going to walk away and be like, oh yeah, I was raped, I'm fine now. That's never going to happen. There's never going to be an outcome.
And then I don't know if it's a positive thing, celebrities being a coming therapy. Because
I'd say it
obviously,
was.
yeah, because